Hi, and welcome to BonPatronPro.com, the world's only educational grammar checker for learners of French. In this short video, I'll describe the site for you, discuss its features, and explain why it's a great tool for improving the skills needed to write successfully in French. So what is BonPatronPro? Well, it's an online software program that examines compositions written in French and identifies common errors. The site has been designed to do exactly what teachers do when marking written assignments. That is, underline errors and provide clear feedback to help students learn from their mistakes. To use the site, you need some kind of text. You can write in the main window or cut and paste from a Word document. Once you have a text, click the check button and the site will quickly examine your composition for common errors. After a few seconds, the text will reappear and three kinds of errors will be highlighted. Spelling errors will be indicated by red letters, and grammatical errors will be surrounded by either a red box, which indicates that a structure is definitely an error, or a yellow box, which indicates that a structure is quite probably an error. To receive information about the mistake, move your mouse over it and a comment box will appear. The box provides an explanation and an example of correct usage. After reading the information, the user simply edits the text by clicking the error and making the necessary change. No automatic correction is given, and the user must interact with the feedback provided. It should be noted that BonPatronPro has been designed by language teachers and is inspired by a process writing approach to learning. Site users should approach the writing task in stages. As such, we suggest you submit a text, correct the errors, and then resubmit your work. This is important since BonPatronPro requires certain errors to be fixed before it will point out other ones. For example, if you write il en reste, only the need for a past form, rester, will be highlighted initially. Once this change is made, the error concerning auxiliary selection will be caught. It's through a series of interactions like this one that students make greatest progress and that BonPatronPro will be most successful at identifying errors. While no grammar checker will identify 100% of errors, BonPatronPro catches the vast majority and is particularly adept at finding second language problems. For example, anglicisms like je faut partir, elle est peur, grammar errors concerning the subjunctive, subject-verb agreement, adjective-noun agreement, and preposition choice, elision errors, problems with capitalization and punctuation, and literally thousands more. Let's have a look at the site's various features. Above the editing window, you'll find buttons that help with checking, copying, pasting, printing, and enlarging the editor window. Above the editor in the center, you'll find buttons to receive comments in English or French. For example, if you choose English, then resubmit a text, all explanations will be given in English. This can be helpful for beginners and for parents wishing to help their children with homework. Note that the current text is erased when you change the language. Above the editor on the right, you'll see buttons that allow you to insert accented characters. On the top right of the screen, you can change various settings under My Profile, and you can access any text you've submitted in the past with the My Text Archive button. And to the left of this, you'll also find a link to our English Grammar Checker Spellcheck Plus Pro. Let's now look at the features below the editing window. First, you'll notice three checkboxes. These allow the user to indicate if they are male or female. This is important since certain forms of feminine agreement are required if the writer is female. The next box tells the checker if a space is required before question marks and other double punctuation marks. And finally, a third box allows the user to indicate whether or not their first language is French. When this is checked, errors typical of Anglophones will not be flagged. Below the checkboxes, you'll find an English-French dictionary that has more than 10,000 words and expressions. Simply type in a word to get its French equivalent. Moving down the screen, you'll find an error summary, along with the accompanying explanations, all of which can be printed for you or your teacher. Finally, many errors have interactive exercises associated with them. Simply click on the link and you'll have access to an exercise that is related to the error you've just made. Now some ask, how is BonPatronPro different from MS Word's Grammar Checker? BonPatron targets errors made by second language learners of French. It's available online and can be used at home or at school. It has exercises and error summaries to encourage learning. BonPatronPro provides clear explanations that students interact with in order to learn during the editing process. And we should also note that BonPatronPro catches twice as many errors as MS Word. Does it work? Well, in a recent study published in the prestigious Calico Journal, Dr. Jack Burston concluded that BonPatronPro can identify approximately 90% of the errors found in student compositions. Some of the most encouraging proof of BonPatron's ability to help students comes from the users themselves. One student wrote us to say, "I'm in grade 7 and my French has improved because of BonPatronPro. I used to get C- and even F. Now I get C+ and I hope one day to get a B." Another student writes, "You've helped my mark go up by at least 20%. I actually learn a lot of great things, and I like seeing that my writing is improving because I get fewer and fewer yellow and red marks." What's the difference between the free version and the pro version of BonPatron? Well, the pro version has a large resizable window for editing texts. There's no advertising. There are grammatical exercises related to errors. There are no length restrictions on submissions. You get a writing portfolio that the student or the teacher can view. You have access to our French-English dictionary. There's the error summary. You have free access to Spellcheck Plus Pro, and you get to use the accent insertion function. Thanks for taking the time to learn about BonPatronPro. If you like information about our reasonably priced classroom or school licenses, please contact us at mail@bonpatron.com, and we'd be delighted to answer your questions and discuss how you can integrate BonPatronPro into your curriculum. À bientôt!